Greetings, everyone, and welcome to We Are ACEDS, streaming live on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. My name is Mike Quartararo, and I am the president of ACEDS. Today, we are joined by Chief Information Officer Mike Sarlo from Haystack, a leading service provider in e-discovery industry that provides professional and technology services across the globe to law firms and Fortune 500 companies. ACEDS has worked for many years with Haystack. They always bring value to the ACEDS membership. And so we thought it would be useful, it'd be great to talk with them about the discovery intelligence approach that Haystack recently highlighted and how it ties together with AI, data science, machine learning, and the human touch to deliver on offerings such as the Review Right Protect offering. Mike Sarlo, thanks so much for making time to join us today. I hope you and yours are well. Let's start off. For those who don't know, tell us a little about yourself, your journey, your role at Haystack.
Yeah, thanks so much, Michael. Really great to see you, and thanks everybody for joining the stream. I'm Mike Sarlo. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer and President of Global Investigations, and also oversee our Cyber Incident Response Services division. I've been with the company pretty much since the dawn of time, and I've seen us grow over the years from a boutique player, that was New England focused to, one of the largest vendors now on the stage here, as we see quite a bit of consolidation continuing to happen here in our industry. I'm a digital forensics examiner by trade, and am a really good talker these days. So I spend a lot of time on the phone helping out clients and internally with our staff, dealing with complex problems and coming up with innovative, solutions to deal with those problems.
That's awesome. Recently, Haystack highlighted what we're terming the discovery intelligence capability. What is that? How is it being used? Tell us a little bit about the offering.
Sure. So, first off, I think, everybody has a pretty good grasp these days on, the fundamentals of e-discovery. And there's, different types of, tech stacks that we're all, familiar with, be it Brainspace, TAR, CAL, those types of things that enhance our review, workflows. But there's a lot of opportunity out there for additional intelligence to be gained from any given data set, and for intuitive ways to approach a data set to extract information that's valuable, both in the incident response spectrum and then also as it relates to e-discovery and digital forensics challenges. I feel like the industry has been rather siloed in our approach as it relates to big name products that have encapsulated pretty much the same technology and use cases and outcomes as it relates to e-discovery. And discovery intelligence is really an amalgamation of our data sciences service division and a broad range of tech stacks that we use to deliver more point of sale analytic based outcomes for our clients.
So is it going, Mike, are we sort of moving to the left? I talk to people across the industry all the time, and everything is sort of shifting a little bit to this notion of information governance, cyber, infosec, internal investigations. What are some of the use cases for this offering?
Sure. So, obviously, data privacy is a really, robust, concept we all have to deal with, and really even in, domestic, litigation here in the US. And there's a big focus on personal data, both from a regulatory standpoint and also from a technology standpoint. How do we manage that, personal data, especially as organizations look to ready themselves for what appears to be a slew of local state legislation as it relates to data privacy obligations and enforcement. There's been a lot for organizations to deal with as it relates to looking through the cyber incident response lens and how that's firmly coupled with the data privacy challenges that organizations face. You don't have your personal like data like secure of your clients, your employees. You're highly like susceptible and at extreme risk in the event of a cyber attack. And I think we've all come to realize that it's like only a matter of time for like many organizations, be it an email inbox compromise or a more widespread like ransom event that can ultimately take down an organization for like weeks, months, and we spend a lot of time, I think, in the technology world looking at the incident response piece of it as it relates to finding the breach. How did it happen? How do we seal it? But there's a whole gamut of like risk and spend, like that's related to like remediating and identifying like personal data points that may be on any given like network that's been compromised. And this is also very important in general e-discovery, where we need to identify like personal data. Really was a big focus, obviously, around like GDPR and from an international standpoint, and still is. But there's some concision between these spares. And to answer your question in a long-winded way, a lot of this is happening on the left side of the spectrum now, as proactively as we can get, but then also reactively. And that's where the like discovery intelligence offering comes into play. It combines a wide swath of tech stacks and approaches to dealing with data that like traditionally haven't been in the e-discovery industry. We're borrowing from everything that's tangential.
Yeah, you hit on an important point. I always kind of view like that all that left side stuff is kind of taking proactive steps to be prepared in the event of something. But e-discovery has always been kind of a reactive thing, right? And so it's interesting to see things coming together. And I'm wondering if you have some thoughts about the true benefits of being proactive in terms of e-discovery specifically, putting aside cyber and infosec and all that stuff.
Yeah, so like classification is key, right? And understanding like where your data is, who's creating data, how it's being used, what its life cycle is. That enhances the e-discovery like paradigm incredibly. In the event that there is any type of like regulatory issue or general like litigation, you're just so much more prepared. And what we're finding is, native tooling as organizations move to the cloud, Office 365, AWS, Google Suite, there is a ton of, enhancements that an organization can enable to rapidly organize their data and learn from it for a low cost. And there's really powerful APIs that can enhance what your organization is looking to do, like specifically. And that's where I get into really the custom approach and what we're doing with, like discovery intelligence. We're using, some of the best enterprise class big data engines to do what many years ago, not even many years ago, even a couple years ago would have been, like completely out of budget or just not tenable from a time to values standpoint.
So just getting into the products a little bit more, there's a couple of different pieces to this, as I understand it. What's the distinction and who's using and for what? The distinction between review right and protect analytics, and so break those down a little bit.
Yeah, so review right, as you know, Mike, we've been in the remote review industry for 8 years. So we've kind of had, I think, a little bit of an upper edge as we move to the remote world. Review right, like combines AI from a staffing standpoint that allows us to scale. Really, like bring in the best candidates and the right people in our network into any, like given matter that may arise, be it cyber incident response or a general civil litigation matter. We use AI to sift, filter, and test and identify the best candidates out there. And that's always been the fundamentals of the review right, like brand name, and obviously the best candidates for any given job. Under the like protect, moniker, so to speak, this is really focused on our incident response from a from a more like reactive approach, but also on the proactive side, how we, employ humans to categorize data en masse, leveraging really our like Protect Analytics, which is a proprietary set of AI, like tooling that we've developed that identifies sensitive data and categorizes sensitive data, and it elevates sensitive data to review teams or like law firms or information governance teams, so that they can act on that data, they can remediate it, like proactively, or obviously like reactively in the event they need to collate it to actually notify individuals that their data has been breached. We've seen a lot of those in our mailboxes throughout the years. I'm sure I get all day long. Every time I look at my Apple phone, it seems like the new password that I came up with has been compromised, and I need to change it. So the Protect Analytics does a really good job of streamlining that, because we have so much experience in e-discovery and with human review. We know how to feed data points that need to be acted on by humans, by stakeholders, to those people in a streamlined way that prevents re-review and gets them the highest value, like data points that will have a mass effect on their data as they act on it for the lowest cost.
Who's using these products, Mike? Is it law firms, government, corporations?
Everybody. We're also doing automated privacy assessments on, like general, like e-discovery, like sets now. We're thinking of this the same way as we think of, like running email threading on a matter. You got to do it, right? The exposure is too high. It's never in any case that people know their data or what's in their data, no matter how much they think they do it. So it's really a stopgap on the e-discovery side. And, again, from a preemptive standpoint and a preparation standpoint, it's very useful during any IT exercise, a migration, just wanting to know, like what's out there. We've really have put it front and center in all of our offerings as we looked, for the industry to really see us as the, the premier, like data privacy experts in the space.
Appreciate that. Very cool stuff. Always want to highlight things that involve machine learning and data science for our listeners. Let's shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about M&A in our space. So, like in the last few years, there's been like a flurry of activity, and Haystack's been in the mix on some of those deals. What are your thoughts on all this activity, and is there anything you want to tell us about that might be happening? I don't know.
Yeah, I won't speak to any current M&A deals, but we're always in the mix.
I'm trying to disrupt the market here. Come on.
Yeah, I think our motto has always been, we want to do business and we want to merge with, and we want to find the best people, the best companies. We want to buy those companies, and we want to buy those companies if they're going to create value for our current clients. We want the best clients, we want the best employees, and we want our clients to have the best experience. The oligopoly that has formed in the marketplace, we don't believe that's beneficial to our clients. And we've seen some of the biggest corporations and law firms shift, like massive amounts of work over to, like Haystack, that are looking for, a more direct touch. I think the other interesting use cases here, right, is these very incredibly large players, they merge, they acquire, key resources get lost in the shuffle. There's a lot of opportunity and movement of folks. Everybody knows that. Everybody's, we're seeing this, staffing shortage, in our restaurants, right, in the coffee line here. And, like legal is obviously also experiencing that. Haystacks hasn't, I think, experienced that as much as our competition. But there's a lot of opportunity out there to get really good key players in the enterprise as M&A happens. So, we're bullish, certainly, on the market. We think that the market's healthy, it's strong, and there's a lot of opportunity out there for, like Haystack and our clients.
Awesome. Appreciate your insight as always. What's coming up is Legal Week. You going to be there? Haystack have a presence? What's going on?
Yep, I'll be chilling like a villain over at the Hilton. I didn't really realize that would rhyme like when I said that, but I think it kind of did. So yeah, no, yeah, I'm definitely going to be there. We're going to be there en masse. We're really excited. You know, just like everybody else, we're ready. We have been ready. We want things back to normal. Can't wait to see everybody. You know, always, you know, such a great way to kick off the year. And we're really looking forward to it. And, you know, we're expecting, I think, a really good turnout, you know, even though things got moved. I think deep down inside, we're all probably like, oh, I guess my will, you know, be a little bit warmer, right? You know, I wasn't that, you know, like disturbed by it just due to the
You won't
weather.
get stuck in a snowstorm.
Right. But who knows, Mike? You know, maybe you've just jinxed us. We'll see.
That's correct. My
We'll get
goal.
that March snowfall.
My goal is to jinx legal week. Look, it's still March. March in New York can be snow. So everybody bring your coat. That's all I can tell
Bring
you.
your cloak, bring your galoshes, you know, be prepared for those puddles. And I think it will be great. We're really looking forward to seeing everybody there and seeing you and the ACEDS crew. And, you know, thank you guys for everything that you guys do for the community. You guys have been so critical during this remote time. It's really amazing what you guys are doing for everybody.
It's been a fascinating time. We've learned so much about it. It would be remiss of me not to say that ACEDS is present at Legal Week. We've got a booth. We're doing a social event that Wednesday night, so everybody come by for that.
Is your tab going to be open for me, Mike?
Yeah, tab will be open.
Okay, great.
Before we go, Mike, anything interesting, anything new coming up that you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, you know, I think you know, the Protect Analytics is open for everybody now, and I think it's really important for e-discovery on like professionals to really get a handhold on, you know, on like data privacy. You know, they're one and the same. That's where the world's going. You have to be able to understand it. You have to be able to, you know, like talk about it. And I encourage everybody to educate themselves there and, you know, to start thinking about all of this as, you know, like just data. And we have different tools that allow us to act on that data. And, you know, we're uniquely like positioned, you know, I think here as, you know, like many of the ACEDS following is e-discovery on like professionals to be successful in these tangential, you know, fields that really are probably easier to manage in many ways with many of the war stories we've all been involved in here.
We call it e-discovery adjacent here at ACEDS. So
Got it.
Listen, this has been great, Mike. Thanks for making time for us. Appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Okay, everyone, we're going to wrap up. If you are interested in our short form video, you can find We Are ACEDS live in your LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook feeds, or check out the ACEDS YouTube channel where you can watch previous interviews and live streams. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks again, Mike, and thanks to Haystack.
Thank you.